And so this is why you never base your relationship happiness on other people's social media posts. Hi guys, my name is Maria Park and this is Approach the Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing the Paramount to Netflix release movie, The Lovebirds. I checked this movie out last night with my spouse because, we're still stuck at home. And this wasn't actually something I was looking for. Honestly, I have been so behind with my job and my other job that I have been kind of neglecting Netflix a little bit. But, I just wanted to have some kind of movie to chill with my spouse and watch. And we saw the trailer for this and thought it was cute, so we gave it a shot. I was not disappointed, but honestly, I will say the best thing about this movie are Isa Rae, and if I'm saying his name incorrectly, I know, Kemal Nagiani, I think his last name is. Their chemistry in this movie, on point. I mean, they have a lot of chemistry. The jokes between them are funny. The arguments between them, especially in regards to The Amazing Race, is funny. This will be slight spoilerish because I don't know how to talk about some of the things that I had issues with without talking about spoilers. So be warned, I will put a spoiler description in the title or below. But I really felt like some of the plot points in this movie were a little underwhelming. So let me start by saying what the premise is. So we have Jabron and Leilani, who are a couple who have been together. When we first see them in the opening of the movie, they're doing the lovey-dovey thing. I mean, they flirt, they love each other, they're all over each other. Fast forward to, I guess, a year later, 2 years later, however long they've been together. They're doing what most couples do. They argue a lot. It's almost like the romance is gone. They burned out, yada, yada. This is realistic. I mean, I'm married. I love my spouse. We spend all of our time together except for when we're working. And yeah, we have fights and sometimes you need your space. So that's completely normal. One of the things that I think really got to me about this movie, though, was Leilani was so insecure, I guess, about the status of their relationship. Like they weren't having sex all the time. They were arguing a lot. Jabron is a documentary filmmaker, so he's always locked in his room making documentaries, which makes her unhappy. And she is very focused on reality shows. I'm not sure what I know she works, but I don't know what she does outside of that. I probably missed it. I apologize. But they almost seem like two different people and completely incompatible. But throughout the movie, you still see the attraction that these two characters have for each other, as well as when she actually confronts her friend. And her friend tells her that, all the social media posts that she's posting about her and her partner are just to make other exes jealous. And that, their relationship is basically the same as everyone else's. They fight. They don't have sex all the time, And that's normal because if you're in a relationship where you are doing nothing but having sex and don't fight, that's a very extended hookup. So yeah, I guess that was interesting. I mean, it's very realistic because a lot of people do that with social media, but I just thought that was interesting that you had these two people, amazing chemistry, and social media was getting in Leilani's head more. And she actually was more pro of breaking up than Jabron. Now, Jabron is a homebody and he doesn't like to go out and party. And according to Leilani, if she didn't plan anything, he wouldn't leave the house. So I get, you got one person that's very lively and likes to go out and one person that would just rather stay home. That can happen and tension can happen and that could lead to issues, but not something you can't work out and compromise if you're willing. So yeah, relationship status. This movie was more of a rom-com to me than a mystery. So expanded premise, Jabron and Leilani fight about The Amazing Race in the car on the way to a dinner party at one of their friends' houses. I don't remember if it was an engagement party or somebody gets engaged or whatever, and she likes the picture, and that starts the argument. And then they end up breaking up in the car on the way or en route to the dinner party. But before they can get there, they accidentally hit a guy on a bike. He takes off, and then another guy gets in their car, says he's a cop, and then proceeds to chase the guy on the bike with them in the car. And at first they're all pro, get him, because they think that they're helping out with, catching this guy who's breaking the law. But then the guy proceeds to corner him in an alley and then run over him and back over him numerous times with their car while they're in it. And then they realize that maybe this is not a good situation. To add on to their, anxiety and stress, a couple comes by and finds the dead person's body and proceeds to call the police and basically, when they call each other's names, like to run, gives the police their names as the people that murdered the guy. Now, I will say you have to suspend your disbelief a lot, because I know that there were CCTV cameras in most of these areas. Oh, sorry, half British. Surveillance cameras in most of these businesses and organizations, and, pointed at alleyways and things like that. A lot of the time. Yeah, there are a percentage of the time where they're not, but for the most part they are. So all they really had to do was stand there and wait for the police. But instead they went on the run. And where it becomes even more, it's fun, but more of a disbelieving plot point for me is the fact that all of the things that they need to solve this case, from this guy whose name they don't know and from the other guy whose name they don't know who killed him, is they've got the guy's phone. They found notes. It actually led to they thought it was going to be a drug den, but it was actually some frat boys that were stuffing incriminating and blackmailing photos into an envelope. They've witnessed not one murder, but 2 murders. There's blackmail, kidnapping, a sex cult, a crazy cop. I mean, there's so much stuff, and you have to suspend your disbelief. And I think one of the things in the movie that really stood out for me, which is another spoiler, they're trying to unlock the phone of the person, the guy on the bike who was murdered. And so they go to the party that they're hours late for, wearing clothes that they had to buy at like a Dollar Mart, or like kind of like one of those midnight convenience stores. And it's like she's got on like a unicorn shirt and like your hoodie and all that. It's crazy. They walk into this party and they pretend that they were late because they were boxing. And that's why they have like cuts and stuff and all this, because, when they were kidnapped earlier, they got roughed up a little bit. So they convince a guy named Keith, I believe his name is. He works in IT. He works with Leilani, who Gibran thinks is into Leilani. Convince him to break into this phone by saying it's actually Gibran's phone, and he basically sustained a head injury during boxing, and he wanted to call his doctor but couldn't unlock the phone because he couldn't remember his password. And it's like, that was like acceptable, and then Keith just did it. So I guess my problem with that is that was really hard for me to suspend my disbelief. I really felt like they could have come up with something a lot better than that, but whatever. But yeah, there's little moments like that kind of made me glad that this did go to Netflix and did not go to the theaters, because it probably would not have done well by Paramount standards. I don't know how much money they spent to make this, but it probably would not have done well in theaters. It is not a bad movie at all. It has a lot of funny moments. And like I said, the main characters have such amazing chemistry. They're very cute together. It's just that there's not really a lot of mystery, because everything just kind of falls in their lap in this movie. So you're not really like, oh, what are they going to do next? Oh, how are they going to do this next? That wasn't really ever, my like emotion watching this movie. I was not like on the edge of my seat. Honestly, I was a little bit underwhelmed at that part of the plot. But again, that is just my opinion, guys. I like the movie. I think the characters were cute. The actors were very good. If it had been a completely different movie outside of the mystery, and it was just a rom-com with them, like a romantic comedy with them trying to find their way back to each other, that would have been enough for me in this movie. They did not have to add all of the other elements to it. Some were funny, some were unnecessary. If I were to give any type of a grading, which I haven't really done, maybe I should start doing that, I would give this one a B-. Good movie, but not really over the top, and the plot was, as I said before, a little underwhelming for me. But I would love to know what you guys think. Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for Jury Duty, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know who's next on the Nerd Ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going. Thank you for